911 in San Francisco for the man known as the Zodiac Killer.
There could be a serial killer in Chicago.
The Oakland County child killer.
Innocently killed.
Frankfurt slasher.
4 children have now been murdered.
Has killed 5 and says he's going to kill again.
15 brutally murdered young women.
The pattern is the same.
One by one,
The death count started rising.
A man in a mask robbed, tied, and stabbed them.
Strangers stuffed in burlap bags.
It is highly unlikely that these women were murdered by separate men.
Where will the killer strike next?
The police can't answer who or why.
That's the question that we'll never know.
I don't want to live the rest of my life wondering if this person's going to be caught.
I believe that there's someone out there that has knowledge.
And he's probably still at large.
All right. Happy Friday. We made it. We made it to the weekend. My name is 12 Gauge, and this is my channel, 12 Gauge Investigative Podcast. Thank you so much for being here tonight. If this is your first time here, thank you for giving the channel a chance to be in your evening lineup. To the individuals in chat, thank you so much. Walt and Ronnie, thank you. Hopefully other people will join you shortly. Come on in and say hello. Come on in and say hello in the chat. You know, this is a continuum of the Noah Presgrove case that I've been doing this past week. Tonight we have some other interesting stuff that I've been able to find. Hello, Tiggy. You know, I've been able to find out some other stuff. Last night I was totally off on the map, but I fixed it. I found exactly what I was looking for, and I'm very thankful for the people in the chat that were directing me the right direction. Man, I have to tell you guys about, of course the can looks black, but it's the green tea by Arizona Tea with ginseng and honey. Man, this is my drink, bro. This is my drink. It goes hardcore. It helps with the throat, all that stuff that goes on. You know, I don't know. I've had this cough for like 2 months now, and it won't go away, so I don't know what it is. But that's neither here nor there. Once again, thank you so much for joining me. If you're watching this on Facebook, if you're watching this on my other channel, my main channel, thank you so much for watching. I don't know if you can comment on Facebook, but if you can't, you can always come to YouTube, 12 Gauge Investigative, hit the live stream, and you'll be able to come into the chat and give your opinion, give your feedback. I want to start tonight with the actual 911 call. There's 2 of them. So this is going to take you right to the location where Noah was found. These 2 callers that you're about to hear here in a minute were the 2 people on the scene right away. So they were actually calling while viewing Noah on the side of the road. And I know that's hard to imagine, but let's listen to it.
On Highway 81, just north of Terrell, in between Terrell and Ryan, Oklahoma, it's probably about 3 miles north of Terrell. Dropping down the road, and I had a bunch of cars behind me, but it looked like somebody got hit, like somebody walking down the highway laying on the shoulder of the road.
It looks like somebody's laying in the road?
No, like on the shoulder, like maybe they were walking and somebody hit them, unless it was a deer.
And see, I heard this today, and I was like, what the hell? I had it all wrong. I thought he was off into the grass. He was not in the grass. He was on the shoulder. And the other one's going to tell you a little more, but they both thought it was a deer. And we thought last night that it could have been, a hog or something. But this guy is given the on-the-spot 911 call.
It looked like a body.
Okay. You said so on Highway 81.
In between Ryan and Terrell, just north of Terrell, it's probably about 3 miles. It's kind of in a low spot.
Okay. And is that gonna be? I'm trying to think which way that highway runs. Is it gonna be on your east, west, north, or south? I'm trying to think. I'm sorry.
It goes north and south. It runs out of Duncan.
Okay. So what side of the road is that on?
It'd be on the west side of the road.
Okay. Let me see who I have on duty to go check that out.
I don't know about you guys that are listening along with me. That is some tough thing to visualize. You know what I mean? This guy's on the scene and he is relaying this information to the 911 operator. Any 911 call I've ever heard, the 911 operator is so I don't know, nonchalant, not really. And I understand that they're not going to put their emotional attachment to every case, or any cases for that matter, but it's really wild to hear a 911 operator react the way they do.
It looks awful odd.
Okay. What is your name and number so if the officer has any questions?
It's Tyler, 580.
I will get a hold of the officer and go get it checked out.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Have a good
On Highway 81, just north of Terrell, in between Terrell and Ryan, Oklahoma, it's probably about 3 miles north of Terrell. Dropping down the road, and I had a bunch of cars behind me, but it looked like somebody got hit, like somebody walking down the highway laying on the shoulder of the road.
It looks like somebody's laying in the road?
Like on the shoulder, like maybe they were walking and somebody hit them. It was a deer. It looked like a body.
Excuse me. These are two different calls. They both sound identical, but these are two different callers. And the similarities are both of them, their names are Tyler. He's describing that he was driving down the road and he saw this body on the side of the road, which looked like a deer. If you've ever been driving down the road and you came across the deer that had just gotten hit, that's the visualization that I get as I hear this. And that is so sad.
Okay. You said, so on Highway 81,
in between Ryan and Terrell, just north of Terrell, it's probably about 3 miles. It's kind of in a low spot.
Okay. And is that gonna be? I'm trying to think which way that highway runs. Is it gonna be on your east, west, north, or south? I'm trying to think. I'm sorry.
It goes north and south. It runs out of Duncan.
Okay. So what side of the road is that on?
It'd be on the west side of the road.
Okay. Let me see who I have on duty to go check that out.
That's it. It looks awful odd.
Okay. What is your name and number so if the officer has any questions?
It's Tyler, 580.
I will get a hold of the officer and go get it checked out.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Have a good.
Okay, like I said, both of them, their names are Tyler. And she asked, did you just call? And he's like, no, he is stopping traffic. So let me know what you think about that 911 call. That is something in itself. I listened to those calls and I was like thinking, man, these people are like right there. They're watching Noah right there. One of them even stopped traffic because of he was that close to the road. It's just heart-wrenching to believe that this case had so much around it, so much surrounding it that still nobody knows exactly what happened to him. So I'm going to go ahead and continue playing a video that I found that has a lot more information than what the video did last night. It actually dives into a lot of different areas. And actually, it's interesting that this is called Deep Diving Part 2. And I will go into the Google Maps here in a little bit, and we will pinpoint exactly where the location was, because I didn't think that it was out there, but it is. So it's not going to be like doxing anybody because it's already out there. And let's go on with the video. The place that I took most of the time talking about was right here, Terrell, Oklahoma. Well, Noah was actually from Comanche. So he was found north of Terrell on this highway, which would be Highway 81. So he was found on this highway. And a little recap on the case is he was found naked with mismatched shoes on. And he was found with numerous bruises and contusions and abrasions and everything else going on. I'm doing pretty good. Thank you, Justice. Excuse me. And I'm going to go ahead and fast forward this a little bit because we all know about what he was found, what he looked like, stuff like that. I'm going to get back to it. You know what's interesting about this video I'm showing you is I actually stopped at this convenience store that I talk about here in a minute. This place right here. I actually stopped there without even realizing that I had talked about that place. This is Comanche, which is a total different look than Terrell, Oklahoma. As you can tell, there's a lot more businesses. You know, there's a lot more type of situation that would make the town a little more able to sustain multiple lives in it. Car wash. So this is Rodeo Drive or Rodeo Drive, whichever way they pronounce it over there. I don't know exactly where his house was or anything like that, but this is the town that he was from, Comanche. As you can tell, in the pictures where he's wearing the football jersey, it says Comanche. They have a lot of these Love's truck stops here where I'm from. They're usually on the interstate. I've never seen a Love's like this, ever. They're usually truck stops. So this is like a Love's convenience store. Like I said, it's crazy that I happened to stop at that little convenience store, and that's where I talked to some of the locals, and nobody would give me any kind of information. Nobody wanted to talk about it, okay? And then I was watching this video today, and I thought to myself, man, I was actually right there, and downtown is right here too. So I didn't realize that I had totally forgot that I did this on this video. I've done so many videos over time. The garage here. And I guess up here at the light, 81 is continued straight. So it looks like there is some oil field business there. These trucks are out of Houston, Texas. Looks like they're moving a rig. So, as you can tell, it's a bigger city or a bigger town than what I showed you Terrell was. You know, the houses are a little more upkept. And this is US 81. As you can see, there's a lot of lot of things to do here. There's a Sonic. There's a lot of businesses, a lot more businesses than what you saw in Terrell.
Yeah, I didn't see that Sonic.
See, there's a Dollar General Market. So I guess that's a grocery store.
I didn't see that either.
I've never seen one of those where I'm from, honestly. That's pretty interesting to see different things like that.
I don't know if y'all see the Dollar General grocery store.
This isn't where he was found, but I just wanted to show you the location of the road. See, this is US 81. No, this is Old Highway 81. So this is US 81. This is the 2-lane highway that they were talking about. I'm going to show a video that kind of goes over a little bit of this. So let me take this down for a minute.
America for sure. It really is.
And
this video is like 10 months old. So this was way, he was killed 23. So this is a lot older than that. But the video says,
Justice, you and I are the only ones in here. So thank you for being in here.
Yeah, it was a slow night that night. Just kind of, there wasn't a lot of people in there.
And here we go.
On a lonely highway is no longer being investigated as a murder, despite his gruesome injuries. Noah Presgrove was only wearing shoes when his body was discovered on a deserted stretch of US 81 near Terrell, Oklahoma. That's about 100 miles from Dallas, Texas. News Nation has learned about the events in the hours before his death. He had been drinking at a house party with friends over the Labor Day weekend last year. The 19-year-old had also rolled an ATV that he was driving with friends earlier that day. He returned to the house after that accident. He got in a fight with his girlfriend, and then he left, never to be seen alive again. Now, Presgrove suffered a fractured skull, broken ribs. His teeth were knocked out, scattered near his body. Tuesday, the county's medical examiner revealing his cause of death as multiple blunt force injuries. While the report answers how he died, the manner of death, what caused those blunt force injuries, remains a mystery. Also this week, after almost 8 months of silence, the Oklahoma Highway Patrol, who is leading this investigation, gave its first update saying that they are not investigating his death as a murder, but the investigation is not over.
Okay, the simple fact that they didn't investigate this as a murder should tell you a lot. I mean, I would believe that, they would know more than what I know, they would know more than a lot of people, but it doesn't add up to me in my head. And I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist. It just doesn't add up how he was found. His teeth were knocked out. We're about to get to the injuries, and it's going to be a visual. You're not going to see him, but you're going to see the visualization of what actually they found and the lacerations and everything on the skull and the facial in the cranial area. So, but I believe there was foul play. I do. It may not have been a murder, but there was foul play somewhere. And I don't know how you feel about it. And the reason I'm still talking about this is because this case has no suspects. It has nobody being responsible for the death of this individual. So I don't know how you feel about that, but it kind of irks me a little bit.
Earlier tonight, I had the chance to speak with Noah Presgrove's sister, Madison Rawlings. Here's part of that interview. I would like to ask you how you and your family are doing first. How are you coping with all of this?
We're pretty strong. I know that we are a resilient group for sure. So I think we're handling it as best as that we can and just trying to stay hopeful and optimistic.
Hopeful and optimistic. What are you hoping the outcome will be? What does that look like going forward?
I'm just hoping that we get it all tied up and we get everything solved and all the questions that we're needing. I'm hoping that it's way less intense that we can't imagine it to be.
Yeah.
I hope that we find out that Noah went fast and that he wasn't in a situation where it would have been a lot worse. Does it make sense?
What questions do you have surrounding what happened?
I just want to know, like, how he died. I want to know what scenario was played out that caused his death, and what happened. I just want to know what happened.
And we're nearly 8 months out. The Oklahoma Highway Patrol finally providing this update that they are not investigating Noah's death as a murder.
So think about that a little bit. If you were the family member, like, she's wanting to know what happened to her brother, right? And all the police would tell you was he died of blunt force trauma. That wouldn't be enough for me. It wouldn't. It would not. I don't know how you feel about it in the chat, but that would not be enough for me. I'd have to be the same way. I'd have to know exactly what happened. You could tell me he was found on the side of the road, found some shorts, found some teeth, whatever, but that wouldn't be enough for me. I don't know about you, but that's just how I feel about it.
What are your thoughts on the handling of your brother's death?
I think that having some communication means there's progress. So with them saying that they're not investigating it as a murder, there's so many other things that they are able to classify it as. So maybe they have just made some progress and were able to give us that kind of update.
So we have this autopsy report released this week that shows that Noah died from blunt force injuries. It rules out him being hit by a car at that spot where he died. He was basically found unclothed. He was hit in the head, broken ribs. His teeth were knocked out. Despite all of that, though, your brother's death not being investigated as a murder, what do you think of that? What do you suspect may have happened that night?
Well, I don't want to just point my finger at anybody that I think could be involved or have any theories that are victimizing other people too, because in the end, Noah had passed away and nothing makes sense to us. So I don't really like to just throw theories out there, because if you follow the Justice for Noah Facebook page, you will get plenty of those. You can find plenty of theories everywhere, but I do think that something happened at the party that he was attending the night before, and I just think that people know and they need to speak up.
Tell me more about that. What do you suspect may have happened?
I like her attitude, and I like the fact that she's willing to say that. Unlike a lot of other families that, when they've lost their loved ones, they're not as articulate with their words as this individual is. And it's refreshing to hear somebody who is just focused on what the situation is, which is the murder of her brother.
Happened at that party, and we know that one of your family members told News Nation he believes foul play was involved. Do you agree with that?
I'm not going to disagree. I have no reason to disagree, but I know there's people out there. They claim to be Noah's best friends. They claim to love Noah, and I hope with my whole heart that is actually what happened, is that they were not involved at all. But at this point, I can't rule it out.
What is your message for people tonight who maybe were at?
And that's a big statement right there. It's like she can't rule out that the people who he calls friends weren't involved. And that is something right there, don't you think? Do you not believe that being a family member, she knew who these people were. She knew who these friends are. She knew about the party. She knew about all that stuff. But yet nobody is talking. I understand not knowing. I understand not throwing crazy theories out there. I get that. Even if you were at that party, you may have only seen him for a limited amount of time. He wandered off, and we're gonna get into more detail as this video goes on, because I'm gonna read exactly what happened after he left the party.
That party, people who had their phones out, taking images, taking photos, who may have seen something and are not saying anything. What is your message to them tonight?
I just hope that they can find it in their hearts to just do the right thing. And if you're doing the right thing, then that's all that we can ask of you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And
like I said, that's very mature on her part, that she wasn't speculating anything, that she wasn't, talking bad about other people that she knows in that community. And that she also knows that her brother has some friends, some close friends that she didn't throw under the bus either, which is very mature on her part. I'm going to load up this Facebook page that has some images of the young man.
That is mature. Looks like 12 had a tan at that point. Jesus, must have been summertime.
And this is provided by Daily Mail.
Yeah,
good evening, Aquarius. Thank you for being here.
Daily Mail has a lot to do in this video. There's a lot of stuff that is shown. I posted this video on a short today.
These are some of the images that were taken of Noah. As you can tell right there, he's at the party. He's just wearing a baseball hat and some shorts. And he's with, interacting with somebody. So here we go.
Found dead on a desolate highway on September 4th. Recent autopsy results reveal the full...
See, I don't know if you caught that, but he's barefoot right here. He's barefoot. So I don't know if you caught that.
And also one thing that I noticed about Noah, he wasn't a little dude. Look at this guy standing next to him. He wasn't towering over him, but he was definitely lanky and tall, So people have asked me, do you believe that these were the short that were found next to him? Yay and nay. I mean, it could have been any kind of variations of shorts. Who's to know? Who's to know definitively? Here he's wearing a hat. There was no mention of a hat found next to his body, and he is definitely barefoot. So if he did get angry and walked off and he was barefoot after, let me just let the video play. It's going to tell you.
Keep watching.
Extent of the Oklahoma teen's horrific injuries suffered from that night. These are the last moments Noah Presgrove was seen alive. Video captured by friends show him celebrating Labor Day weekend at a 4-day party, with everyone unaware of the impending tragedy. Just hours after these videos were taken, Noah was found dead and naked on a highway a mile away. The 19-year-old suffered dozens of horrific injuries from broken bones to smashed teeth, brain damage.
So he doesn't look like a small guy. I mean, he's pretty good size. Wow. So they're obviously playing games there, doing all kinds of crazy stuff that, young adults do. And he looks like he's in good spirits. They were drawing all over him. In the autopsy, they did discuss a drawing on his inner thigh or on his thigh. So that could have been from this party. They did talk about a chain being found there at the scene and a pair of shorts. I don't know if it would have been these shorts or if it would have been the khaki shorts that you saw him in a while ago. Nonetheless, as you can tell, he wasn't wearing a shirt. He wasn't wearing shoes at this point. So he was just kind of hanging out.
And bleeding inside his skull and chest before he died. Earlier this week, his autopsy report gave a chilling insight into the extent of his injuries and his final moments. Presgrove suffered external injuries to his face and head that night. The most serious was the chunk of scalp that was torn off his head all the way down.
Okay, right here it says, it gives you the inside of the injuries. It says the external injury to the head, and I talked about these the other night in my live. Bleeding from both ears, 4 by 2 inch of scalp torn off of the bone on the scalp.
Okay, that's
grazed at front, cuts of the inner ear.
Hold on a second. 12, hold on. The scalp
being torn off the bone. Okay, that injury right there, I'm no medical personnel. I'm no medical person. I'm not a doctor. But to me, just thinking about part of his scalp being torn off from his head and the bone, how would that have happened? Where did that happen? Like some of these injuries, and if I repeat myself, look who's telling the story. It is me in past tense. So it's not like I'm, watching this and then telling you again. So here it says bleeding from both ears, so there was grazes in the front, cuts on the inner ear, mouth, upper and lower lips were split, teeth broken, fragments in the mouth, cut on left side of the tongue. Did he bite his tongue down? Is that what caused the cut? There were grazes across his left eyebrow, the corner of his left eye, his left cheek, his left side of his neck, right beneath the head area, and right in the back of the neck. So everything, as we were discussing last night, is on the left side. It's on the left side. But where in the heck did that peeling of the scalp from the bone, how did that happen? It says khaki shorts are Saturday night, black shorts are Sunday, and white shorts are from after the shower. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. So you tell me in your analytical mind and your critical thinking skills, how did this happen? 4 by 2 inch of scalp torn from the bone. If he wasn't hit by a vehicle, how did he get these severe injuries? And how was it not a murder? Okay. Across left eyebrow, corner of the left eye, left cheek, left side of the neck, right down to the head, right back of the neck, the mouth, the upper and lower lip split. His teeth were knocked out, broken fragments, cut on the left side of the tongue. So these are some severe injuries.
Down to the bone. The piece of scalp and hair was found on the highway feet away. Many of Presgrove's teeth were also broken, and some were knocked out and found on the road. Alongside brain injuries, skull fractures, and a broken neck, Noah suffered fractures.
So these are illustrations of the blades. Both shoulder blades were fractured. 10 rib fractures in the back, which would have been the top half of the back. Non-vertebrae fractured in the upper and middle back. Okay, so this gives you a diagram of the broken back and rib area. So look at all the damage area in the top portion of the body. There's 10 rib fractures that we talked about last night in the autopsy or the night before on the back, which are all in the middle alignment of the back spinal region. There's non-vertebrae fractured in the upper and middle back up at the top, and obviously his shoulder blades were fractured. So what kind of pressure would it take for that to happen to somebody? Was it somebody landing on their back? Did this come from the ATV accident? Did this happen before he was found on the side of the road? I just wonder about the injuries. And I'm juggling two things. I'm going to be honest with you, everyone. I'm juggling two things. One, internal injuries caused him to succumb to the injuries that he received on the ATV accident, determining how severe that accident was. And number two, if he wasn't hit by a vehicle, he was thrown from a vehicle onto the road. because those are some substantial injuries that would not have just been caused by a superficial fall. And by that, I mean, if you're already standing still and you fall flat on your back, are you going to fall with such force that it's going to fracture your shoulder blades and your back that hard? I don't know. If any medical professional people are watching, let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comments if you watch this on replay. So, did he land on his back? Because this seems like the most extensive injuries were on the back side. And for these two to at least I'm to be simultaneous in distance, at least you would wonder, did he land on his left side on his back?
To 9 vertebrae in his spine and 10 broken ribs. Presgrove had comparatively minor external injuries to the front of his body. He also had road rash above his upper back, with black material from the road lodged in the wounds.
See, so this is where the ribs, the back muscle, the clavicle area would have been broken. So look how, did you hear what it said? The narrator said he had black asphalt lodged in his upper torso area. I hope you heard that. Severe that was, and look how these areas, and if you can remember it, there's a big old gash in the scalp and everything on both ears and on the left side of his body. So did he land on his back?
There were also grazes on both buttocks, despite the shorts found near his body being undamaged. Presgrove's body was found between the 2 chalk lines and teeth within the circles. His blood alcohol level was 0.14 and no drugs were in his system.
Okay, so last night I reported that there was no alcohol in the system. Their report that it was 0.14. So he was legally intoxicated by the state limitation to 0.08. So he would have been twice the legal limit. See, I had forgot all this stuff. Please excuse me for discussing things that obviously were not true last night. So please forgive me for that. You know, this is obviously more relevant information than what I was talking about last night.
Oklahoma Chief Medical Examiner Leonardo Roquero ruled Presgrove died of multiple blunt force injuries, but how he got them was undetermined. Dr. Stuart Fisher, an internist doctor, examined the autopsy report and said the injuries were so catastrophic and varied that him being mortally wounded in a severe beating was the most likely cause. He also said it was unlikely one person caused all Presgrove's injuries because they were far in excess of what was needed to kill him. Noah's family, pictured with his sister Madison Rawling, were confused by aspects of the report, but said they had confidence in the investigation. Presgrove's family also complained that his friends all claimed to have no idea what happened to him and how he ended up dead by the roadside just hours later. Our thoughts go out to Noah Presgrove's loved ones during this unimaginably difficult time.
So think about what that narrator just said. He said that it appeared that he had severe beating wounds. Did he get jumped at that party? Did they cause such damage that he internally bled out and then they threw him out of a moving vehicle? See how I'm jumping around with these theories? Because you can make up these things in your head, but Occam's razor is the simplest solution, right? So I don't know, but it doesn't seem like Noah just was walking and then fell down and passed away. And if that's what happened, that's what happened. I'm not trying to make it something that it's not. Another young adult gone too soon, blood around his body, despite his have their lives taken so quickly. At least I didn't. I don't know about y'all. I didn't worry about being alive the next day. Felt 10 feet tall and bulletproof. So here I'm going to read a Daily Mail talks about the first cop to arrive at the killing scene where Oklahoma teen Noah Presgrove was mysteriously found dead. Reveals what he saw and the new details about the 911 calls. A teenager who was seriously found dead on a lonely highway had little blood around his body. Despite his horrific injuries, the first cop on the scene says. And that's another thing right there. How could he have those severe of injuries and very little blood around his body? There was very little blood around his body, supposedly. How did that happen? I'm no medical expert, once again. But to me, it would seem that if you had a part of your scalp ripped from the skull and you land in such force that it gives you road rash and all these lacerations, wouldn't your body have been bleeding? Let's see what the chat's saying. If he got beaten up at the party, could he have died at the house and then they dumped on the side of the road? There's report that he walked off, so I don't know. I mean, anything's possible. So, if an individual has very little blood around their body, it is almost determined that the body would move to that location. Not saying that that's what happened, but most of the time that's what the medical examiners and the investigative teams state. It says Noah Presgrove, 19, was wearing only shoes when his body was discovered on a desolate stretch of US 81 near Terrell, Oklahoma on September 4th. He was also seen alive about a mile away at a 4-day, 22nd birthday party with friends over the Labor Day weekend and was heavily documented on social media. Jefferson County Undersheriff Jimmy Williams was the first policeman to arrive at the scene after 2 motorists saw the body and called 911. Noah Presgrove was only wearing shoes when his body was recovered. Let me show you the images. So we watched that video just now. That is where his body was found, in between these 2 circles. Okay, so that's obviously where the memorial is on that side. But think about, his body was found in between these 2 areas. The teeth were found in this area, and I guess the shorts were found over here. So he was found as that one person in the 911 call stated he was on the white line. So, and he was a pretty lanky, tall guy. So if he was on this white line, it would have appeared to look like a deer in the early morning hours. You know what I mean? So how did his teeth get over here? And you get what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. I cannot wrap my mind around how this happened. Right here. Naked with only shoes on. As you can see, the party house is not that far from where he was found. So what would have made him walk out towards 81? What could have possibly been so important for him to take off walking, or for them to do something at the party and then take off and dump him there It's just terrible to think about. But it doesn't surprise me about young adults these days. They have no understanding for human life anymore, it seems like. Let's listen to the 911 call. Let's listen to it again.
911, what is your emergency?
Hey, on Highway 81, just north of Terrell, between Terrell and Ryan, Oklahoma, it's probably about 3 miles north of Terrell. Dropping down the road, and I had a bunch of cars behind me, but it looked like somebody got hit, like somebody walking down the highway laying on the shoulder of the road.
It looks like somebody's laying in the road?
No, like on the shoulder, like maybe they were walking and somebody hit them, unless it was a deer. It looked like a body.
Okay. You said so on Highway 81.
Between Ryan and Terrell, just north of Terrell, it's probably about 3 miles, kind of in a low spot.
Okay. And is that gonna be? I'm trying to think which way that highway runs. Is it gonna be on your east, west, north, or south? I'm trying to think. I'm sorry.
It goes north and south. It runs out of Duncan.
Okay. So what side of the road is that on?
It'd be on the west side of the road.
Okay. Let me see who I have on duty to go check that out.
It looked awful odd.
911, what is your emergency?
Yes, ma'am. I was driving to work. I'm south of Terrell, or north of Terrell, south of Ryan.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure there's somebody laying dead along the road. They look naked. I'm staying back.
Okay, I just had 2 calls on that.
This guy right here gives the most information.
And I have a deputy headed that way.
All right. Well, I'm sitting here blocking the road.
Oh, are you there waiting? Okay.
Because he's right. The body's laying right on a white line.
Oh, it is a body. He's naked and he's laying on the white line. He's naked.
I turned around because I just about hit it because there's a deer run across the road, and I'm like, first I thought it was a deer, and I was talking to a guy I work with. I'm like, I don't think that's a deer.
Yeah, that's what my first caller said. Thought it was a deer, and then when he looked back and he said, "No, there's no way that's a deer."
No, and it actually looks like there's a piece of clothing maybe laying in the middle of the road. Now, I don't want to get too close.
Jeremy right now. No, this is another 911 call that's looking at it.
Oh, she's already been in touch with Jeremy.
Okay. Yeah, Jeremy's going to head that way.
Jeremy's heading that way. She's on
the
All right.
Okay. So you're staying there, or?
Yeah, I'll just go ahead and make sure nobody runs it over or anything else.
That's terrible. Wow. I was just thinking, what if he got beat up at that party really badly? And I mean, it was just dramatic. He was still alive. They put him in the back of a truck. And as they were driving him either home, because it looks like it was heading north of Terrell. So he's from Comanche. So they were driving him home. And maybe he started back up and they shoved him out of the truck. Does that sound feasible? I mean, that's how close he was to the road. And there's some blood right there. So you would think that if the individual was here and they threw him out or he bounced out or whatever happened to him to end up on this road, there would definitely be more blood than that. Wouldn't you think? As you saw, there was very little blood. There's a little blood there, but there's not any blood where the body was found. Yeah, and as we're looking at these circles, I mean, it's hard to really tell unless you zoom in. But there's not really a lot of blood in that area like you would think if somebody, even with my theory, if he was thrown out or bounced out, there still would be almost like a blood smear, I believe. So that doesn't really hold true. So did somebody just stop and place him on the side of the road? But how did his teeth get there? How did the tooth get there? You get what I'm saying? Like, how did that tooth get next to his body? The laws of physics are at work, which was right here. And why is that? That's the first guy that found him. There's Presgrove with his sister that just talked a while ago. And here's some of the fractures, some of the skull fractures. I just don't understand what would have caused this to end up like this. Bleeding above the skull, bleeding under the skull, and bleeding around the brain. Or could something have happened on that ATV and he started acting aggressive? But think about this. I just thought about this. And I hope I don't say it because I don't want to be repeating two different things, but at least I'm consistent, right? Think about how he came into the residence after being in that ATV wreck. Those people would have known whether he was bloody, whether he would have had any lacerations on him. Was he wearing a shirt at that point? Did he have any cuts? Because there's two people that bathed him. There's a CNA, and I'm going to get to this part in this video. There's a CNA that said that was at that party that stated he was okay. There was no visible injury that would have suspected them to be more life-threatening than it was. You know what I mean? So they would have known his girlfriend and somebody else bathed him. Gave him a shower, not bathed him, but gave him a shower. So they would have seen his body and they would have known, hey, there's laceration. There's a laceration on the back of his scalp. Part of his scalp is missing. And if you're watching this, that's what makes my channel a little different than the true crime channels. Is I go deep with the wording, with the autopsy photos and stuff like that, because to me that makes the case. Me sitting here talking about it with you having no idea what I'm talking about because I'm not showing it to you lead to a lot of speculation because there's no puzzle piece right there. So that's, I want to say, if you're wondering why my channel is totally different by showing all this stuff, that's why. Because I believe in people having the ability to see the things that I'm talking about. So this is talking about brain bleeding, bleeding above the skull, bleeding under the skull, like I just said, and bleeding around the brain. Like I said, damage to the brain tissue. I'm no medical expert. So if you're watching this and you know what would cause this, come on into the chat and let me know. You know what I mean? Because that would help a lot. You would think, but they don't know what time he left, who watched him walk off. Best friend's father. And then people just started beating him up. Do you think he was hit by a car or a truck? The more that I've watched on this and the more I've researched on it, I don't think he was hit. I believe that something happened at that party and it was probably dumped here. See, look at all the internal damage that he had. See, I didn't know that both lungs were punctured last night. His spleen, the stomach, internal bleeding around the heart. There was
chest,
internal bleeding.
both lungs were punctured. That's a lot of damage. I mean, unless he, unless they lied about the ATV, unless they lied about the ATV not landing on him or whatever and killing him, maybe that's what killed him. And they just went and dumped him over there. He was a bigger guy. It would be nice to know what happened to him. Did he land off the ATV? Did he hit something when he landed? I mean, because you can hit something really hard, get the wind knocked out of you, and think you're okay. It says Presgrove's best friend Jack Newton, who insists he was asleep when the teenager died, summarized the basic chain of events to a friend weeks after the party. It says, he wasn't beat up. I loved him more than anyone and want justice for him so bad he deserved it. And I'm really still thinking it had something to do with, I guess, hit and run. What about him being in the shower? So according to everyone that was awake, all of our close friends said that he wrecked my side-by-side I had there around 3. And he was super dirty and super drunk, so a couple of girls helped him to shower. And when he got out, he wanted to sleep in the girl's bed, and she had said no. That upset him, and he walked off. So could that have been a motive right there? He wanted to sleep. See, I'm confused at this part right here because there's so many reports. He got into a fight with his girlfriend and wandered off. Right here it's saying he wanted to sleep in the bed of the birthday girl's bed, and she said no, and he wandered off because he was mad. So which one is it? Was his girlfriend at that party? Did she get mad at him because of this? Because he was drunk and wanted to sleep in the bed of the birthday girl, and they got into it and he wandered off? I mean, what happened? There was a lot of people asleep, obviously. So this is later in the evening. Says no. Okay. I'm trying to figure it all out. Sleep with the girl in the bed, and she said no, so he got up and walked off. Would that explain why he was naked? Yes. He was pretty athletic. He played football, ran track, basketball, and something else. It says Williams arrived at 6:18 a.m., about half an hour after the emergency calls at 5:43 a.m. and 5:48 a.m. and investigated Presgrove's body. He only took a brief look before focusing on securing the area, but told Daily Mail there was not enough blood for it to be starkly noticeable. I didn't observe a lot of blood. From what little I was there checking, once we determined he was in fact dead, I was just securing the location. Williams couldn't say if there was more or less blood than you would expect from Presgrove's injuries, as he was not a medical expert, but it was not an obvious amount. His observations aligned with Tyler Hardy, the first driver to stop at the scene, Presgrove's best friend Jack Newton, and others who said there was very little blood around the teen's body. A medical expert told Daily Mail that the injuries detailed in Presgrove's autopsy report, there would have been a lot of blood at the scene. Many friends, family, and locals believe Presgrove didn't die where he was found and was instead killed somewhere else and his body dumped on the highway. I don't see that being far-fetched at all. Once again, this is where the body was found, in between these two circles. And up the road up here, there was teeth found in his chain. So
Ronnie says, I think he was a wrestler as well. Yeah, I think so too. Do you think that possibly he walked off and then somebody came and chased after him? Maybe in a vehicle, confronted him on the side of the road. They got into a fight. Possibly, beat him up there on the spot, and he fell and never woke back up. And that is an interesting comment right here. The best friend's girlfriend helped Noah in the shower, I think would make anyone mad. Yeah. And there's a lot of circumstantial evidence that point to motive with so many different people involved, but none of these people have been brought out as suspects. I haven't even really heard about any of the interviews of the people that were at that party. As some of these other cases were prevalent to hear the interviews of what happened, who was all around, this type of stuff. I haven't heard any of that. Just couldn't think of it. It's just tragic. This is just, there's the map again where he was found and where the party was. So he wrecked that side by side. I mean, it sounded to me like that was the beginning to a lot of this stuff. Because if he wrecked it and he got injured really badly, it seems like these young adults don't want to face any consequences. Their first thing is to clean up the crime scene or make it look like something else. Williams also said Presgrove was not lying in the fetal position, as some people who saw the body recalled. He was laying somewhat on his side, but I wouldn't say he was in the fetal position. No, he said, saying his legs were straight and his arms not tucked under his body. The undersheriff said that there were only 5 people at the scene when he arrived, and he was joined by Sheriff Jeremy Wilson 6 minutes later. Along with the 2 motorists who called 911 were 2 Terrell Rural Volunteer Fire Department officers, including a chief who arrived at 6:15 in Newton. Williams said from when he arrived to when he left at 8:17, only the sheriff and Oklahoma Highway Patrol troopers came to the scene. We kept traffic moving except for people who needed to be there. Not long after OHP arrived, we shut the road down completely. I mean, there's no blood there. If he landed on that road, there would have been possibly skin, dermis, skin, all kinds of stuff. Because if you've ever scraped your... See, I'm starting to sound like a conspiracy person when I'm listening to myself speak right there. This was a long time ago, obviously. There was no blood. Where's all the blood that would be there if that would have happened there? Blah, 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 all that stuff. I'm listening to myself and I'm like, well, that does kind of make sense, but, and I've said it tonight that there would have been more blood, but how true is that? I mean, I've never seen a crime scene where somebody's been hit by a vehicle or somebody been thrown from the bed of a truck or just laid there, staged or whatever. I mean, if there would have been a blood trail, wouldn't there have been a blood trail if he would have been bleeding out in a vehicle and they got him out? There would have been blood droplets, obviously, unless he was on a tarp and if you know about the Idaho 4 case, you're going to get this reference. He was on a shower curtain. You know what I'm saying? So there was no blood, no vehicle debris or parts. You're right. So I'm thinking, how the hell did he get on that road with no blood trail? Only a little bit of blood droplets. His teeth are knocked out, and he's slightly laying on his side. So wouldn't there have been more blood on the side he's laying on, he would have been bleeding a little bit more. Let me know if you think I'm totally off. Or knee on the road or something like that. You understand that there's going to be a lot of stuff left over. I wonder if he'd left the house and was walking home. There's no telling. There's no telling. The sheriff department released audio of the 911 calls on Monday, and Williams cleared up some unanswered questions about them. The two callers were Golfmark Energy Field Supervisor Tyler Hardy and a semi-truck driver, also named Tyler, who didn't give his name to the 911 operator. 3 calls were placed from the area, but one was just 20 seconds of static that Williams said was Hardy on a bad signal. He had a bad connection, and he had to recall. I confirmed it was the same phone number. The first call was from Tyler, whom Hardy earlier said was a trucker, who turned around in Terrell about 2 miles north and came back to the scene. I had a bunch of cars behind me, but it looks like someone got hit, like somebody walking down the highway. They're lying on the shoulder in the road. Yeah, like on the shoulder, like maybe they were walking and somebody hit them, unless it was a deer, but it looked like a body. I mean, I wouldn't put anything past anything because I'm not a medical professional. So if he was hit by a vehicle, I mean, I would think there'd be more blood, though. I don't know, though. And maybe he was hit and had more internal injuries, and that's how he fell. I don't know. What do y'all think? There's the skull fracture. There's the brain injuries. What do y'all think? If he was hit, he was pretty hit pretty hard. The clothing was a pair of white shorts, according to the autopsy report. There you go. That some of the Presgrove's friends said he was last seen wearing. Okay. Williams said by the time he arrived, the shorts were folded near Presgrove's body, as they were described in the autopsy report. Well, maybe one of the guys that called 911 grabbed him from the middle of the road, because he did say there's a pair of clothing in the middle of the road. So maybe he grabbed them, folded them, and put them by his body. I mean, that makes sense. It is believed the shorts were retrieved and folded by one of the volunteer firefighters in a few minutes between Hardy's call and Williams arriving to prevent vehicles from running them over. There you go. Hardy last month said no one touched the body between when he saw it and when police arrived. I was the one who found the body, so yes, I can say 100% that nobody messed with Noah. I was the first person there, he said. I know who and what I saw. The married father of 2 was driving south in the darkness in an early shift when he spotted something in the headlights. I would believe that the blood would be coming from the injuries he had. You know, like the scalp was torn off, his shoulder blades were fractured, his skull was, or his spinal cord was fractured. There was lacerations around his mouth, his ears. I mean, there was blood that came out of his ears, but I mean, not a lot. I mean, lights of his Ford F-150 work pickup truck. He pulled over to take a closer look and realized he was looking at the body of a young man dead by the side of the road. To get to the portion of what happened at the party here in a minute. That is just, it says less than 10 minutes after both he and the truck driver called 911, Presgrove's best friend, Jack Newton, arrived. Jack was the only person who walked up to Noah, and he told me who it was. Hey, Hummingbird, thank you for that. He is naked and wet, laying on the white line. Even the dispatch lady repeats it. Thank you for that. You're right. You're right. Until the Terrell Fire and Jefferson County Sheriff showed up. Jack also told Daily Mail that there were minimal blood at the scene, only a little coming out of his ears and on the top of his head where part of his scalp was torn away to the bone. That's weird. How did his best friend know? He called and broke the news to his father, Caleb Newton, who hurried to the scene about 40 minutes down the highway from his home in Comanche. Jack said he woke up ready to go fishing and was told his best friend was missing. I figured maybe he got a ride or something. Noah's done that before, got mad and left. He was not one you usually worry about. I wasn't really thinking about it. Jack was supposed to go fishing with his father that day and texted him at 5:53, coincidentally the same time as the 911 call, letting him know he was on his way. I'll meet you up there at the lake. Can you bring me a hat, please? Someone messed with mine after I went to bed. Caleb replied, okay. Jack assumed Presgrove was fine and left for the lake, driving north until he saw the semi-trailer and pickup by the side of the road. There's Presgrove's best friend, Jack. Too many Jacks. Oklahoma Chief Medical Examiner Leonardo Roquero ruled Presgrove died of multiple blunt force injuries, and how he got them was undetermined. So here's another situation. Undetermined. No, I don't know the speed limit on that road. I mean, but the guy that called the 911 call in, he said that he almost hit a deer, and that's when he saw the body. So that just goes and basically tells you what we talked about. It said there were no vehicle parts or debris observed on the scene, indicating Presgrove was almost certainly not hit by a car. Okay. So there was no vehicle parts or no broken lights or anything like that. The shorts he was wearing was undamaged despite the grazes on his buttock, and the slip-on shoes had grass and other debris lodged in them. Presgrove had a blood alcohol level of 0.14, but no drugs in his system. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to think about this. No one was hurt, but he was dirty enough that two of his friends gave him a shower, and he changed into a different pair of shorts and argued that birthday girl about whether he could sleep in her bed. After being told no, he wandered off to clear his head and wasn't seen again until a passing motorist spotted his body and called 911. Newton, who insists he was asleep when Presgrove died, summarized it to a friend weeks after the party. All of the close friends said he wrecked my side-by-side I had there around 3, and he was super dirty and super drunk, so a couple girls helped him in the shower. When he got out of the shower, he wanted to sleep one of the girls' beds, and she said no, and that upset him, and he walked off. But the details are very much in debate as to whether Presgrove was killed where he was found or even left the party alive. So what do y'all think about that? That's what I'm fixing to ask, is what do y'all think? Let me see if there's any more on here. What do y'all think about what I just read on there? I mean, this is all Daily Mail. So, you know, a lot of people don't put a lot of stock into the reporting, but, you know, some of their stuff is right on, you know. 2 girls give him a shower. Is one of those girls his girlfriend, though? Or is she asleep and then wakes up knowing that he went and tried to sleep in another girl's bed? They got into an argument. He wandered off. Nothing makes sense in that whole scenario that I just read right there. To me, none of that equals, okay, I get the wrecked ATV. I get he was partying, having a good time that night. I get that, there were people asleep at that party. I get that he comes back after wrecking the ATV. He's muddy, intoxicated. They give him a shower. He tried to crawl into bed with the one female. She tells him no. He gets upset, wanders off. Next thing, they find him on the side of the road about 3 miles north of where the party is. So you tell me how this all makes sense. Does any of this make sense to anybody? Rondi said the shower thing is just weird to me. It would be weird to me as well if he wasn't so dirty. You know what I mean? If he wouldn't have came in dirty after wrecking the side-by-side, that would have been suspicious. But the whole girlfriend who helped him shower, that is a dynamic right there. Because that would have been a catalyst at that point. He's trying to go to sleep with this girl in her bed. She says no. He gets pissed off. He starts wandering off. Next thing you know, he's dead. I know life happens like that sometimes. I'm very well aware of that. I'm not, trying to make this more mysterious than it is or add any kind of conspiracy thing. But just like his sister said, what happened to Noah? What happened? From the moment he left that house, 3 miles down the road, he's no longer with us. And I'm going to show you the map here in a little bit because I've pinpointed exactly where the house is, and I was going the wrong direction last night. I was going south instead of north on 81. And I didn't even think about that because that road is north and south, east and west. So they call it the party house. I don't know why they call it the party house, but the house where they were having the birthday party at is on the west side of the road. And you walk down to the end of the street, make a left, which obviously he did. 3 miles down, they find his body. So in a 3-mile range from that home, something happened. Something happened. And nobody has said anything that I'm aware of. That's why I'm bringing this case up again, because there's so much mysteriousness in it. Just a short amount of time. Just like any of these other cases that we talk about, that short amount of time. How did it happen? Jack said they all took a shower. All was dirty, but Noah's shower is talked about. But only Noah's shower is talked about. Okay. They all took a shower. All was dirty. Gotcha. So the people that wrecked in the ATV, they all took a shower, but Noah's was the only one that they talked about. Gotcha. I understand what you're meaning there. So let's continue on. Let's. I hope you are enjoying this. If you are, hit a number 1 in the chat. This one says Oklahoma teen Noah Presgrove was likely beaten to death by a group and his body moved and dumped on a lonely highway after a 4-day party. A teenager mysteriously killed in a rural town was probably beaten to death by a group and his body moved and dumped on a highway, a doctor believes. He was only wearing 2 mismatched shoes when his body was found September 4th. He was at a 4-day birthday party. Dr. Stuart Fletcher, an internal doctor with extensively experience in emergency medicine, reviewed the report for dailymail.com. He said the injuries Presgrove suffered were so catastrophic and varied that him being mortally wounded and a severe beating was the most likely cause. The poor kid never had a chance. These injuries are not amenable to surgery at all, not at the same time. There are 5 and possibly up to 10 potentially life-ending injuries. It's just not one. Dr. Fisher said the skull fractures were the most serious injuries and were so severe they were unlikely to have been caused by one impact. There was one extensive skull fracture running across the head, splitting the middle base of the skull into 2, and multiple similar or smaller ones, describing his head as being caved in. He had about 20 milliliters or 68 ounces of blood pulled inside his head from a brain bleed and damage to 4 parts of the brain itself. Excuse me. Presgrove's autopsy also revealed air in both his cranial cavity and spinal cord, extremely rare conditions only caused by massive head trauma. This is very unusual for air to enter the skull. My guess would be injury by several different things at the same time, namely several different people at the same time, he said. Dr. Fisher said it was unlikely one person caused all Presgrove's injuries because they were far in excess of what was needed to kill him, unless it was a crime of passion. They would have. So listen to what that doctor is describing. That sounds feasible. That sounds probable. You know, he's saying that his injuries look like something that happened by multiple people causing those injuries to Noah. And that's why I wonder, did it happen outside? Did he get jumped? Because if that girl whose bed he tried to get into, the birthday girl, let's call her that, if he tried to get into her bed and she had a boyfriend there, he wouldn't have been too kindly to that, right? But like, no, get the F out of here, man. And you know, testosterone, young adults, drinking, you know, can lead to a lot of fighting, especially if you're intoxicated. Not real sure the relationship, but it sounds like friends with benefits. Okay. But you get what I'm saying? If that girl had somebody there who she was already hooking up with or whatever for the night, Noah tried to slide in, she was helping him. The dude gets pissed off, he follows Noah out. Some other dudes follow, and the fight ensues. You know, if you've ever been drunk and tried to fight, it's not happening. It's not happening. Your balance isn't there. Your range of distance is not there. You throw a punch, it seems like all your weight goes into your punch, and you're unable to stop your body from going forward. Don't ask me how I know this. Let's continue on. I had to keep going a lot longer than needed, like those cases where people are stabbed 50 times. It's very difficult to break a skull, he said. He said the broken neck Presgrove suffered where C1 vertebrae was displaced could have killed him in itself if it was bad enough. It's like when someone is hanged by a rope. He was a tall, big guy. I mean, he wasn't no little guy, so it probably would have taken a lot of people to beat him down. That's sad. What do y'all think? Dr. Fisher was shocked to see there was little mention of blood at the scene and hear how multiple sources told Daily Mail there was almost none when they saw his body laying on the roadside. Really? Well, maybe the body was moved. There would be pools of blood, and if you're not seeing that, an explanation could be that that's what happened. If you're hit with enough force to crack a skull and cause a basal skull fracture, you would think there's something at the scene that's more than a paper cut. But if there's nothing, it would mean the body was moved. Another leading theory police are investigating if the Presgrove fell or was pushed from the back of a pickup truck and his head hit on the road. It's possible, but noted the lack of serious injuries to Presgrove's lower body, which only had a few cuts and scrapes. If he was thrown from a car, you might get the body rolling and therefore injuries throughout the whole body, as opposed to being confined to one area. Okay. Even if he hit the road head first, it would distribute the injuries up and down the body. He'd have broken legs from falling on the road. He said Presgrove would have bled to death, but his breathing would also have affected by his torso injuries. He would have died very quickly in minutes, not seconds. There would be lots of blood, he said. Both lungs were punctured, and he had internal injuries to the heart, spleen, and stomach, with internal bleeding at least 1,550 milliliters, about 3.2 pints. Wow. A man Presgrove's size has about 12.6 pints of blood and would generally die after losing half of it, though as little as a third can lead to death. The absence of huge blood pooled near the body when the internal bleeding was only about a quarter of the body volume could imply the body was moved. Let me ask you a question, all right? Let me pause this. Do you think that shower could have been after an altercation? Do you think maybe no, but then he would have had all those lacerations and everything else, all them bruises? He would have started bruising? I don't know. I'm trying to make it make sense to my brain, but it's not. It's just not. And I don't know how y'all feel about it. And I continue to say this, not because I'm being just trying to elicit emotion. I am really not understanding this crime. I mean, whatever it is, if it's a crime, if it's just an accidental death, I mean, I'm not understanding it. You know? I'm not understanding it. And I'm hearing it for the third, fourth. I've read this. I'm reading it to you guys right here. I'm listening to myself, and none of this makes sense on how this happened. Unless there was people involved that assisted or something happened, it went too far, ended up killing him or mortally wounding him, and then we're driving him home and he passed away and they threw him from the vehicle. I don't know. They did say another male party person got in the shower also with Noah. I think that would cause a fight. Yeah. It's just overwhelming. All the stuff to think about. So it goes and tells you the injuries that we've already talked about. So possibly that situation of him wanting to sleep in the birthday girl's bed made someone angry. And that's why a lot of them started, a lot of drinking and maybe people drugging or whatever. Here we go. You just don't know what you're doing while you're under the influence. See, that's further away is still a spot of blood, the only blood found at the scene despite the extensive injuries all over his body. Look at that little bit of blood right there. That little bit right there. That's all that was found, that little bit. So you're telling me this man had all those injuries, and pretty much this is all that was found at the crime scene blood-wise. Tell me how that makes sense. Tell me how that makes sense. Some say they saw he was standing up but bent forward. Others say he looked unconscious, laying in the tub. Could he have passed out and died from the injuries of the ATV? But if you're giving this man a shower, wouldn't you have noticed part of his scalp missing? Wouldn't you have noticed the lacerations on his mouth, his teeth missing? I mean, and how would that one tooth have just gotten to that area by the body? You know what I'm saying? I'm not being contrarian to anybody. I'm just asking these questions. We're almost done with this video. This is where the I think the body was found, and these are where the teeth were found, where it's marked. See, there's just a little bit of blood right there. I didn't know that. The blood spot was dozens of feet away from the body, which is opposite the cross. So that's not a lot of blood at all. So let's say this was already here, okay? The body was found here, the tooth was found here, and the shorts were found not far from the body on the road, as the passerby 911 caller stated. So if he was right here laying across this white line, his tooth is found here, let's just assume that this blood was already there, possibly, or, it is his blood. How did that blood get there? And he's way over here. The tooth's right here. He's over here. Did it start here, end here? Because he was walking in that direction. So I want to give a little bit of reference to that, because he was walking north, okay? He was not walking south. So if you're thinking that he was walking south, this is on the west side of the road. So the house he was at the party was on this side of the road. So he's walking against traffic. Traffic would be coming north to south, heading into Terrell. He's walking on this side of the road against traffic. So this would have indicated the start, the middle, and the end, if you're looking at it in that kind of direction, okay? So a lot of people are confused in that. They think that it started over here and he was walking this way. No, he was walking this way. He was walking against traffic, because traffic was heading south on this way and north on the other lane, on the east side of the road. And I'm going to show you all this here in a minute once this video finishes. We're almost done with it. So I hope you're enjoying the presentation. Another concerning photo appeared to show a teenager holding a rifle with Presgrove visible in the foreground. I guess they don't like to wear shirts. They've already wrote all over them. I guess because of the humidity. I mean, it is humid in that area for sure. And it was Labor Day weekend. How could all those kids not know? All those kids partying at this house. Wonder if they found anything at the house. See, the girls are riding all over his lower back and everything. Was somebody jealous? Was somebody jealous of Noah because of all the attention he was getting at that party? Was there somebody or a group of somebody that were haters? The story is just tragic on so many levels. He looks like this one kid I grew up with. Right here. So the blood was further that way. There was a lot of people at that party. 4 days worth. The end of summer with a raging party at his birthday girl's home. I mean, it could be anything that turned into a violent situation. It says, bro, everyone that saw Noah at the viewing, including me, saw his face was beat up bad. Bro, I know what a beat up face looks like. Definitely not just me saying that. Everyone that saw him said that. Looks like he got beat up by 5 dudes. And a friend who wasn't at the party questioned one of the teenagers in the weeks that followed about what happened the cause of his facial injuries. And why would he say that? I mean, all these things are suspicious, to say the least. That's what I would have thought too, Aquarius. I would have thought that they would have searched where the party was. Or maybe around there, you know? How about where he crashed the ATV? No, he wasn't found far away from the house. You know, where did he crash the side-by-side? Was there any... This is where his body was found. Semblance of a little bit of blood. Anything around that area? One of his teeth was found here. Y'all understand what I mean by that, right? I wonder if they searched that area. Did they even know where that area was? Was there any blood in the ATV, in the side-by-side? There's the blood. Look at the distance. There's the cross. There's a thugged out gangster. Seems like everybody's a wannabe gangster these days. I was going to say something else, but I caught myself. And that's it. As far as the video is concerned, I just go on and keep kind of rambling on. It was almost done anyways. So let me get to the map. I Google Earth this, so it's a lot more on cue than the map that I was using last night. Let me close YouTube. Let me make this bigger so everybody can see it. Hold on, let me change this. Wow. Okay, let me show you. Let me go down here into this area and show you where I don't want to call it the party house because a party house would insinuate that there was parties there all the time. And there was a 22-year-old person that lived there, I guess. So it could have been a party house. But there's a row of houses. There's this one. There's that one, which I believe is the home, the one in the middle, or that one at the very end. It could have been the one at the very end. There are pictures online. I don't think it's the middle one, even though they circled the middle one on the diagram that I did a while ago. I believe it's this brown one down here at the very end of the road. But like I was saying last night, if you're driving the side by side, does it not make sense that you would be driving down this dirt road as fast as you could? Okay, so now that we see the location of the house, all right? Okay, the middle one, all right. So you are correcting me. Okay, it is the middle one then. So it's that one and the middle one at the party house. I was getting the colors confused, I guess. It's facing east and west. So there's a driveway and it's facing east and west. So you go out the driveway, you hook a left, and it goes to 81. Okay? So you hit 81, and like last night, I was walking south. See, I was walking this way last night on the map. So I was going in a total wrong direction. That's why I never could find the location. Well, he actually, if he walked off the property, he walked this direction and then hooked a left and started walking up this way. Let me go back to the map. So how did that map get that way? So this is the houses, and here's the middle one. See? This is supposedly the house where he was at. So if he was riding a side-by-side, was he out here in this area? Is that where he wrecked it? Or did he wreck it on the road? Or even across the street? So supposedly this is the party area that he was at. He would have been walking this direction. Too bad there's no cameras or anything at that point. This is 81. So let me zoom out. His body was found at this intersection area, as far as I can tell, because that's what the map really shows, that the location. So that's not far at all. This is the entrance to the road where the house is. And let me take you where the body was found, in the area that it was found. So this is not precise, okay? So don't say you're way off, blah, blah, blah. I'm just, this is the intersection about where I read today that this was around the intersection where the body was found. And this intersection is intersection 20 something. I wrote it down earlier when I got home. But this is the intersection where this road, here it is right here, I'll tell you. This is US Highway 81 and 2118, I think it was. 2118 and Highway 81. So right here in this area is where his body was found. Like I said, there's not a definitive marking spot. I was looking for the cross. I couldn't find it. So anywhere right here, give or take a mile, half a mile, okay? And you said 1.5 miles down the road. So that's the sand plant entrance. Okay. Well, from this location right here, this road right here, to where the house is 3 miles. Because that's what the 911 caller stated. He stated that it was 3 miles into Terrell. And there's the road right there where I have it pinned. And here's, how did the freaking map get that sideways view? Jesus. I'm terrible at this.
I don't know if I turned it around, what I did, but you get the picture, right? That's where the location was, around that area where the body was found, and the houses I thought were on that road, but I guess I was wrong. How the hell did the map go that freaking... Okay, that's better. Okay, that gives more of a kind of like a tilted view of it. That's the road. And this is where the houses are, right? This road. I'm still in a different direction. Where the hell are those houses at? Y'all be patient with me. I'm not like, I'm not a professional map person. The other way, okay. This way. Hold on. Okay, so the whole freaking map is turned around. Okay, that's where the houses are. Right here. I'm all turned around. That's why I couldn't find them. Okay, here's the house. Jesus, thank you guys for in the chat helping me out here. And okay, here's the house he was at. And this is where supposedly the body was found. So I'm going to get on that road and I'm going to backtrack. Y'all said look for a tree. There was no trees to that road, okay? So I'm going to backtrack. I think there's up here, there's a tree. I tell you, I'm not an expert on the map thing, so y'all be kind of forgiving, will you? Will you forgive me? I think that it's up here because this is a batch of trees. So he wouldn't have been walking this direction. He would have been walking on this side of the road, on the west side of the road, heading north. I think this is it right here. Because the guy said it looked like an unleveled area of ground. Does that look about right? Further up? Okay. Further up. How far up? The next batch of trees? You would think there would be the cross, but I don't see it. How further up? See, there's a batch of trees right there. I don't think that's it either. Maybe it's this up here. I suck at this, guys, so don't judge me too harshly. And there's this crap in the way. I can't see the screen, so I'm walking backwards.
Is it right here? Is that the memorial? Let me get back to the chat. Is that it right there? Other side? What's on the side of the railroad track? So this area right here where the big tree is? I think you're right. Right here. Let me see if that's it. Is that it? Right there? Isn't that where we see the cross and everything in the other pictures? Or is it over here? It's at one of these locations, but if you look on the ground, I mean, I love that you can get freaking close on the ground. I mean, it's almost like you're right there. Like the trucker said, he was right on the white line. Let me see what you are saying. Further up, other side. But, so he was not found on the west side? I thought everybody was saying he was found on the west side. If this is going, hold on, if this is going south and heading this way would be going north, wouldn't this side be east and that be west? Because, so he wasn't found on the side of where the party house was. Are y'all messing with me? Because here's the house. Okay, I'm turned around again. Okay, here's, Jesus, help me. Okay, there's Terrell. Here's the house right here. Here's the house. So I've always thought, based on the account, that the railroad goes down this way, right? The railroad crossing goes along this road. So I've always thought that he was found on this side of the road, not this side. Is that wrong? He was walking facing the coming traffic. Yes. So how far up from where I'm at? Like on the map, it shows that he was found right there. But you are telling me, so if this is 3 miles, okay, then this would be about a mile and a half would be right about here. About halfway almost. So that's where that tree is. So this would be the direction he would be walking. He'd be walking this way. So this is about the halfway point. And there's that big tree right there. Any one of that area could be. So if we're looking on the concrete, obviously it's been 3 years, so no telling if it's been repaved. Anything could happen in these 3 years. See, and that's kind of blurred out a little bit. That kind of looked like spray painted area. Because they spray painted on the ground, and that's where. Let me see what the chat is saying. See the brown triangle spot? It's close to the second one on the right. House is to the left. See the brown triangle spot? It is close to the ones. You can go back in years and see the road before. So the brown triangle. Where is the brown triangle? Hop on panel with me, damn it. Because I don't see it. I don't see what you're talking about. Is this the area? Tell me that much. Let me stop right here. Is this the area? Tell me that much. Am I where I'm supposed to be? How do I go back in years? I don't see. You're close. Which way? North or south? Stupid time lapse, so I'm having to wait. Do I go north or do I go south? South, okay. So that tells me we're going this way. And what am I looking for as far as the identifying kind of, I know it wasn't there. What am I looking for as something to gauge how far? Copy and paste that into the map. Copy and paste that into the map. White sign and covert. Right here. Is this where it is? No. Big tree. Were you there? Were you where? Hold on. Okay. Big tree. We're heading south. Okay. Where I was. I can only tell from the top view. Okay, let me go back to the top view. Okay. This is where the houses are. Right here. Jesus, 12, you're killing me. I'm getting all turned around. Hold on. This is US. Okay, that's not it either. It's right here. Here are the houses right here. There's the house. Okay? See that tree? Okay, there's the house. We're walking out to the road. Is this too far? there's the first road right here. Is this too far down? Because there's the house, and supposedly that's where he was found, based on news reports, okay? So here's the house. Tell me what to do. Hit a left, how far down? Keep going north. So, okay, I'm confused. Here's the house. Okay? So, this is south. This is north. Okay? And here's the road where you said the plan is. There's the house. There's 81. There's the train tracks. I wish you could see the trees, but you can't. You just see shrubbery along the road right there. So tell me where to land, my little guy. Keep going north. Stop. Okay, I'm going to land my little guy at this road right here. Y'all tell me if this is too far, not far enough, okay? This is like, the party house is up here. Which way? Going that way is south. This way is going north. Do I head south or do I head north? I'm not slow, y'all. I know what I'm doing. It's hard for me to talk to you guys in the chat because I'm having to flip-flop back from screen to screen. So go a little further north. Okay, thank you. Okay, let's go north. Okay, let me check with you guys. Okay, up ahead, I see a tree. I see a pole. Do I keep going past the pole? That big tree coming up. Okay, thank you. Keep going. Stop. Is that the tree you're talking about on the other side of the railroad tracks or the ones up ahead? I am so sorry, y'all. I'm not trying to be difficult. I'm really not. Y'all probably yelling at me from your side of the screen going, no, slow down. Go back. Okay, so is that the big tree right here? So right here. Keep going ahead. How far? Is there going to be a marker or something that I'm going to see to tell me to stop? If I see the cross or something up ahead, I'm going to be like, how did I miss that? Okay, there's the big tree. There's a little tree. Is it right here? Next set of trees. Okay. These up here? Because I think I was right at these trees. Or maybe I wasn't far enough. See, this is a hell of a walk. This would have been the direction he was walking, though. Because he's walking against traffic. And I mean, this is almost realistically, you're taking a step at, oh, come on. Was that, why did it go back in time? Is that the cross up there? Like that little area right here? Is that it? Right here, this big ass area of trees? Like right here? Because the closer I get, see, it goes back in time. And then it like shifts back into it's wild. Like it just took me back in time and then back out down the road. Maybe to keep people like myself from finding the location. This is it. I think you're right, because the photos that I've seen, it does have a tree in the background. And I think the cross is like right there. So if this was the area, it's easy to see how that one gentleman said he saw what looked like a deer, and then he saw Noah's body. So this would have been the direction he was facing. That is wild to me. Rest in peace, Noah Presgrove. Hopefully we'll continue to, as time goes by, we'll continue to look for information that gives us closure for a case. I'm going to try to get in touch with the sister or maybe some of the friends. So let's see where we're at on the map. Okay, here's the party house, or here's the house he was at. And this is where we're at. We're generally like halfway, yeah. About a mile and a half. So tragic, man. See, it's up here. It's up here. See, I think that looks like the cross right there. But they like swapped it out with this back in time photo. Like very quickly you can see a cross, or at least I saw it right here in this area. And as you can see, there's nothing on either side that would have heard him screaming, asking for help. Nothing. Nobody within miles. Wow. So they're at the party house right here. He would have walked down, made a left, would have went past this area, and made it to about right here. I think that's where it is. Yeah, right up here. So I'm not far off. It's just sad. Rest in peace, Noah Presgrove. Rest in peace. See that brown triangle shaped dirt patch? I will go back and look at it because I probably drove people nuts going up and down that map. Thank y'all so much for being here. Thank you so much for being here. I believe until my special guest comes on, this is going to be the last one that I do in the series until I speak. Until I speak with the person who is going to come up on panel with me. She's a professional, and we're going to discuss the case. We're going to discuss the injuries. And we're going to keep talking about it a little bit more. If you enjoy the way I do things, please hit the like, subscribe, and share button on your way out. And subscribe to the channel if you're not already. And let people know about the channel. Maybe they might enjoy it. Y'all have a wonderful weekend. Be safe out there. For 12 Gauge Investigative Podcast, I am your host, 12 Gauge. Maestro, cue that music. One more thing. I'm going to play the Noah song as we go out.
There's a front porch still creaking on an Oklahoma night. Wind rolls soft through the weeds in the pale moonlight. Mama keeps the hallway lamp burning low, like somehow that light might guide him home. There's a picture on the mantel, dust on the frame, 1,000 little memories and the sound of his name. Some hearts break loud, some never make a sound, but grief can shake a whole small town. He was a boy from Comanche with a golden smile.